Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you ever heard of turbo debt?
No, what is that, something to get me into debt faster?
No, turbo debt is not to get you in debt faster. It's to help you get out of debt. Do you have over $10,000 in credit card, personal loans, medical, or payday loans?
Of course I have debt. That's the American way.
Au contraire, mon frere. Turbo debt will give you the option to break the debt cycle and start putting money in your pocket.
That's awesome.
Over 70% of Americans die with credit card debt. Do not let this happen to you. Turbo debt will give you an option to break the debt cycle and start putting money in your pocket.
That's awesome.
If you have over $10,000 in credit card debt and personal loans, medical, or payday loans, they can help. Go to turbodebt.com/techtime. Again, that's turbodebt.com/techtime, all capitalized, for a free consultation today. TurboDebt is a proud sponsor of this week's episode of TechTime Radio.
Broadcasting across the nation from the East Coast to the West, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mum.
In the lab late one night, when my eyes beheld an eerie sight.
All right, welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mum, the show that makes you go, Technology News of the Week, the show for the everyday person talking about technology, broadcasting across the nation with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. We welcome our radio audience of 35 million listeners to an hour of insightful technology news. Each week, our show covers the weekly top technology subjects without any political agenda. We verify the facts, and we do it with a sense of humor in less than 60 minutes. And, of course, with a little whiskey on the side. We are live streaming during our show on 5 of the most popular platforms, including YouTube, Twitch.tv, Twitter, or X, however you want to call it, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to visit us online at techtimeradio.com and become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/techtimeradio. I'm Nathan Mum, your host, a technologist with over 30 years of technology expertise, working for Fortune 500 companies across the country. Today in the studio, we got Mr. Miller behind the board. We have my co-host here, Marc, and of course, it's a holiday event, so that means we got Nick Espinosa on the show, ready to go today. This is our best. This is normally the most watched episode of the year. This in Christmas gets really close into that area. It's because we are all dressed up and in spirit.
I don't know why you want to believe that.
For this. So we got Mike, you are a king. You are the king of the kingdom.
I'm at least the king of snark.
Okay, we got the king of snark here. We got myself. I am dressed up as an
idiot.
As a pumpkin, though. We call it a pumpkin. And Mark's dressed up as you'll see him when he comes on in here as a interesting little witch type of deal. And we got Mr. Miller.
Pippi Longstocking on Halloween.
We got Mr. Miller dressed as a 2003 radio engineer. So there we go. All right. Mike, you're an award-winning author, right? Originally from Arizona. Mike is a human behavior expert living in the Seattle area with a master's degree in forensic psychology. Mike is here to keep me from geeking out while providing insight into human behavior and how it interacts with technology. Marc Gregoire is our whiskey connoisseur and a senior technical executive with a 30-year record of establishing technology solutions. He's a skilled whiskey drinker and is our go-to pick-of-the-day expert. We are all friends from different backgrounds, but bring the best technology show possible every week for our family, friends, and fans to enjoy. Welcome, everyone. Let's start today's show.
Now on today's show.
All right. Today on Tech Time with Nathan Mum, we have our Tech Time Radio's 2023 Halloween edition with special guest Nick Espinosa, who will help us explore the spooky side of technology. Our theme for today is much like the Five Nights at Freddy's, with scary mechanical robots taking over not just a pizzeria, but the world itself. We will discuss some of the most spine-chilling topics in the tech world. First up, we'll explore whether AI is Frankenstein's monster or just the introduction of Skynet. We'll also discuss whether the UNIVAC's ghosts still haunt old computer labs as one of the earliest computers ever built, considered to be one of the scariest predictors of future events. Additionally, we'll be talking about the zombie internet, Elon Musk's attempt to get rid of cash, and vampire hackers who are sucking money from businesses and governments. In addition, we have our standard features, including Mike's mesmerizing moment, our technology fail of the week, and a possible Nathan Nugget. And our pick of the day whiskey tasting. During the commercial breaks, we will see if our selected pick gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up. Actually, we have all 4 of us drinking it, so we'll see if it gets 4 thumbs up at the end of the show. So sit back, raise a glass, and welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mum. Now it's time for the latest headlines in the world of technology.
Here are our top technology stories of the week.
All right, story number 1, the biggest crypto scam case might be coming to an end. Let's go to Mary Stramford for more on the story.
Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of the failed FTX cryptocurrency exchange, denies knowing FTX money was missing. The founder of the FTX crypto exchange was grilled by a federal prosecutor for a second day. The entrepreneur has been accused of masterminding a years-long fraud to steal as much as $10 billion from FTX's customers, and then funneling the money to extravagant real estate purchases, as well as using the funds to prop up a crypto trading firm, Alameda Research. Over and over on Tuesday, Sam Bankman-Fried denied knowing that billions of dollars in customer money had been misappropriated until shortly before his company collapsed last year.
All right, we've talked about Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, let's give a little recap for those people that haven't been listening to this great story that goes out. He's the founder of the failed FTX cryptocurrency exchange, and he's denying that he knows billions of dollars in his customers' money's accounts were misappropriated at his company. Even though he was in charge of it, he says that he has nothing to do with it. Now, he had 20-plus people go on record during this case to say that he absolutely knew what's going on, but he said that he has forgotten, and he was so busy with what's going on.
Clearly, he is the one that is in the know.
I would think if you're the one that has the bank accounts, you create the cryptocurrency exchange. Now, we've talked about this on our show many, many, many times. There's only one cryptocurrency exchange that we would even suggest you play around with, and that's Coinbase. And even at that point, you should be playing with cryptocurrency money like it's casino money at a Las Vegas casino, hopefully without MGM that got hacked, but one that will be able to take your money from you each and every hour as a normal casino can do.
Yeah, the bottom line is if you're going to play with cryptocurrency, you might be a losing
value. You may lose it all. So FTX, which was once valued at $32 billion at its peak, imploded last year, leaving many customers unable to receive their deposits. So the thing is as a person that had money in there, $32 billion at its peak.
Did you didn't?
No, I never did.
Okay.
None at all.
I remember a couple of years ago getting like pile drived by tons of people hawking FTX.
FTX? Yeah.
All over the place. It was crazy.
So I have a cryptocurrency exchange that I do. It's called KU Coin, based out of China, and that's the one that I just might as well throw money away. And I try to get it onto a USB flash drive when I buy cryptocurrency there, so I actually have it as a backup on my ledger. And then I use all the rest of it I use Coinbase. So those are the two that I use. But FTX is now bankrupt, lost all that money. Essentially, the problem has that it was based in the Bahamas. So it wasn't a U.S.-based company, but it did open up a company in the United States. This is how the government's going after him, that he was funneling money into that account from FTX. So he took FTX money in the Bahamas, transferred it into a company in California, and that's what they're coming in after him for. FTX collapse kicked off an investigation by the Justice Department and the SEC that focused on, did FTX improperly use customer funds to prop up Alameda Research, a crypto platform that Bankman-Fried had also helped start up. And that's where they're kind of getting this lawsuit to take care of it, is because he actually transferred money into it. The 30-year-old one-time crypto mogul fumbled for answers when the prosecutor, Danielle Sassoon, repeatedly asked whether he told his employees not to spend FTX customer money on investments, pricey real estate, and other expenditures. He said, quote unquote, "I don't recall giving any direction." So essentially you're running a company and you have all your employees there. Would you never give direction to your employees if you wanted them to do stuff? Are you just going to walk around all the time and look at the pie in the sky, or are you going to give your employees items to do?
Why are you asking me that?
I'm just kind of asking that. I don't know how he can say he was in charge of the company and never gave his employees any direct contact.
How can all these guys run around saying, well, I didn't know?
Now, if Zuckerberg said
Everybody
it,
says that. I
maybe
didn't
Zuckerberg
know.
doesn't know anymore because he's kind of a weirdo now. So I don't. But
We've had that all the way up to the present. I don't know.
yeah, so there you go. Mike, Mark, what do you think about it? Any thoughts about this? No. Mark is like all done with this. He's going crazy. All right, Mike, we're gonna move over to you. I think for story number 2.
Yes. Well, Universal Orlando Resort is testing facial recognition technology for guest entry.
Oh, that's your favorite thing to do, isn't
My
it?
favorite thing, and I have a dry throat. It's begun testing a new facial recognition technology dubbed photo validation as a potential replacement for the current thumbprint scan used at park entrances. Technology is designed to streamline park operations and enhance the guest experience by providing a seamless, contactless entry process. The software quickly and accurately identifies guests that as they enter the park, which I am skeptical of.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, it's got to be better than what I don't have fingerprints, and I was just down there like 4 months ago with the family, and every single time I tried to get into the park because they want your ID to be associated, I had to show my ID because my fingerprints have been sawed off. I was a cook at the Royal Fork back in my day, and I just
that's okay.
seize them, so.
That doesn't happen. But
Okay,
all right.
okay.
Thanks for letting us in on that one.
Okay, so
The
this will
facial
be good
rec-
for me then, right?
Huh?
This will be good for me because then it just sees
Sure,
my
why
face.
not? Yeah. Facial recognition software works by capturing the facial images of guests as they approach designated entry points. The images are then matched against a database of pre-registered guests, verifying their identity within seconds. This process is designed to minimize wait times and provide a high level of security for all visitors. Does it help you open your iPhone at the park too?
I don't know. So I'm starting to have a little bit of concern about this. I don't mind getting into the gates, but what else is going to happen?
I don't know. Walt Disney Resort previously trialed facial recognition scanners back in 2021.
Okay.
But they removed them following a lot of negative feedback from theme park ticket holders. One of the biggest concerns is ethical implications of such technology, particularly in relation to personal privacy.
Okay.
So while the use of facial recognition technology in theme parks could potentially streamline operations and enhance guest experiences, that's the data security and privacy is the top of the
That's going to be interesting because that means Universal, they're going to have a massive, massive database of people's names, probably phone numbers, addresses, credit cards, because that's what you use to purchase your tickets.
We talked about that previously. I mean, there's not much more that they're going to gather than you having an online thing with, MGM, what are the other things?
Any other
hacked?
app? Now, any other, so like a travel app, or we can ask Nick about all the stuff that
But,
got hacked.
one of the things you mentioned is that if they hack this system, they can also see your movements throughout the park and capture your purchases or whatever you're doing throughout the park, which I think is the crux of the personal privacy thing.
Do you think this would help with crime? So let's say if I go on, this could though, right? Because if I go on in and let's say I steal something.
Okay, we've done stories about this many times over about law enforcement using these, and it comes back with problems.
Okay.
Especially where it misidentifies persons of color.
Okay.
Particularly.
Okay.
And I'm sure if you bring up that particular piece, that's probably not going to help.
Okay. Okay.
But, CCTV is all over the place anyway. It's becoming more and more of a reality, so.
It's pretty tough nowadays. If I think about back in like the 80s when you used to be able to rob a bank in the 80s or something. I'm just going to use that as an example. You'd have the closed caption TVs on the banks, right? But
is that what you did in the 80s?
No,
you just robbed banks?
No, I didn't rob any banks.
Okay.
But if you think about that, the technologies, you'd have the cameras in the banks, and you may have a couple cameras on the road that you're going on out. But you don't have like these blink cameras. You don't have these like door.
Everybody has a camera.
They do. So now if you steal something, you can go to your neighbors. You can go to other places. I mean, you can put a digital track of finding where those criminals are.
Sure.
So don't come to our house with our like 40 cameras, because as soon as you walk up the driveway, Man, it's going off, and my Alexa system is beep, 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 beep. It's telling you all about it.
All right. Well,
Okay.
there you go. So that's what's happening at Universal.
Do you like facial recognition, Mike?
I'm always ambivalent about all these things because
Yeah.
they have potential, but they're often problematic. And it's the problematic piece that I have an issue with.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, let's move on now to story number 3. Elon Musk gives employees 1 year to replace their bank account. Let's go to our Tech Times Tom Geiken for more on the story.
Elon Musk says X will take over the world as the one and only app, saying it will replace cash. Musk, ex-owner, has given employees of the social media platform 1 year to replace their bank accounts, saying they will no longer need them. At last week's X's all-hands meeting, Musk made it clear that he wants X to be the center of the financial world, handling anything in life that deals with money. The features that will enable X to handle payments is expected to launch by the end of 2024. That's not at all spooky. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, that's not as spooky at all.
So we got a 52-year-old Elon Musk. This guy is just gold for media. Here's what he told all his employees during his all-hands meeting. So just think of this. All-hands meeting is when the whole company gets together. You're either seeing him live or you're live streaming it, so you see what's going on. Everybody's like, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, this is the problem with delusional reinforcement.
What's that?
That you can start getting away with talking about this stuff like it gets worse and worse
Like it
and
gets
worse
worse?
because you have all these people around you going, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, you can do it.
Well, here's what he said at his Thursday meeting. He said that the people will be surprised at just how powerful X is going to be. When I say payments, I actually mean someone's entire financial life, Musk said, according to audio obtained from the meeting. If it involves money, it'll be on our platform. Money or security or whatever. Of course, he doesn't really know. So it'll just be like spending $20 to my friend. Instead of doing that, now you won't need a bank account. You will just use X. This is coming some weeks after Musk announced plans to add video and audio call features to the app. He has already started paying rewards or bribes to creators who are Twitter Blue subscribers. So if you are a Twitter Blue
What was
subscriber.
that? Did I hear you say the word bribe?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't in the script. I added that to there. But so what he's now doing, this guy, I mean, he lives in his own little world bubble.
That's what I'm talking about.
That he's got. So he's now, if you tweet out stuff that he's excited about as a Twitter Blue subscriber, so you got to pay your $12 a month or $9 a month for the service. And then when you do that, if you tweet something out, he'll give you 50 cents back. He'll give you 25 cents back. He'll give you $1 back.
Really?
So you got some incentives there.
So he's gonna give me money to tweet stuff he likes, huh?
Well, that if you tweet stuff that he likes, then he'll find you out. If you're an influencer and you're paying to use the Twitter Blue subscribers, he'll give you some money back. Doesn't that sound so great? Good old buddy Uncle Musk, right?
I am often rendered speechless by your enthusiastic renditions of Elon.
He is like a cartoon character.
He is
like,
a cartoon character.
He is like the perfect cartoon
But
character.
They all live in a world of delusion.
But yet he produces a car that runs really well, Tesla. He's
His
going
company
to
does.
His
He
company
doesn't.
does. Correct.
He
started ChatGPT. He started that startup company that essentially created ChatGPT.
He must be your hero then.
Well, he's not my hero, but he's like so crazy that if you get enough, Steve Jobs was the same way. I know everybody in Apple thinks he's great. He was a crazy nut too, but he get people
that's
excited.
That's what we do. We take the function of whatever is created by these companies and we put it on this person and saying this is why this exists.
Yeah.
And it takes credit away from the actual people who design and implement them and put it on the person who's standing there going, yes, we're going to do this. Yes, we're going to do this. And we're seeing an interesting phenomenon with Elon being like getting way further out there in the delusional world.
Well, I can tell you that I don't think the United States government is thinking cash is going away.
Yeah,
anytime
I'm pretty sure this is not going to happen.
And
I'm really concerned.
Are you ready for the prediction show at the end of January or at the end of December?
I'm really concerned about this employee thing. I want to see, if this is a real deal and What happens if they don't change bank accounts? Do they not get paid
I
anymore?
don't know. He didn't explain that at all. All right, well, that ends our top technology stories of the week. Moving on, we have our Halloween special episode of the scariest things in technology. And no holiday special is complete without our special guest, Nick Espinosa. What are Nick's 3 scariest technology events that happened in 2023? Well, we'll explore this in our next segment, Ask the Expert. You're listening to Tech Time with Nathan Mum. We'll be back after this break.
This is Marc.
And Greg.
For Copiers Northwest.
With a terrific offer
called Printer Care Plus.
It's simple. Buy HP printer cartridges from Copiers Northwest and we'll service your current printers for free.
That sounds too good to be true.
It's made possible due to our HP Copiers Northwest relationship.
Copiers Northwest is an HP Platinum partner.
One of only 2 in the entire Northwest.
And now with Printer Care Plus,
Copiers Northwest will provide free printer service.
as long as they purchase genuine HP cartridges from Copiers Northwest.
That's right. IT departments no longer have to service printers.
Or fix paper jams with Printer Care Plus.
They can focus on more strategic initiatives.
And let our experienced technicians keep their HP printers up and running.
Sounds like a love-love relationship for IT departments.
Don't get too carried away. So how do they get more details on Printer Care Plus?
Call Copiers Northwest today, 206-282-1200, or visit copiersnw.com.
Copiers Northwest. New ideas, new solutions.
I was working in the lab.
All right. Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mum. Tech Time's a weekly hour technology show that talks about current technology in a simple format without having to geek out. Brought to you by myself, Nathan Mum, and Mike Day. We just had our first whiskey tasting during the break, and now we have Marc in studio and his all get out for Halloween to tell us what we have chosen to taste today.
Hello, my pretties.
I think you're enjoying that a little bit too much, Mark.
I enjoy it very much, Mike.
Okay, well, that's some place where we disagree wholeheartedly because I hate this.
I think we dressed in the wrong costumes, though. I think we should have dressed as M&Ms because you have M, N, M.
Oh, that would
Mike,
That's clever.
Nathan, Marc.
Oh, that's really clever. We should have done that.
That's
All right.
clever.
There you go. We'll do that next year.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we will.
No, don't get any ideas.
All right. What are we tasting today?
We are
here?
tasting Colonel E.H. Taylor Jr. Single Barrel. So, from Buffalo Trace website, Colonel Edmund Hayes Taylor Jr. is widely considered one of the founding fathers of the bourbon industry, who in 1870 purchased what is now called Buffalo Trace Distillery. Many of the barrels selected for the E.H. Taylor Jr. single barrels are aged in Warehouse C, which was built by Taylor in 1881 and proven to be an excellent aging warehouse. Each barrel is handpicked and bottled in bond at 100 proof to honor its namesake. The aroma carries lightly toasted oak, dried figs, butterscotch. One sip brings flavors of sweetness balanced with tobacco and dark spices. The finish is just long enough to prepare the palate for another sip. Now, this is released by Sazerac Company. It's distilled at, as we mentioned, the Buffalo Trace Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. It's straight bourbon. It's aged at least 4 years, though it is believed to be 7 to 12 years. It is 100 proof. It's an unknown mash bill, but we know it's a low rye mash bill, so less than 10%. And it sells for an MSRP $70, but on the secondary market, it goes for up to about $225.
Wow. So have I tasted an E.H. Taylor before?
You have tasted the small batch.
A small batch. And I think I like that one, if I remember. Well, I like a lot of
I
those.
believe you both gave that one a thumbs up.
Okay, because this is, you know what? This is a little different. We were just talking about this. Mike, what was your first take on this? It's kind of just a borderline.
The initial taste is harsh.
It was harsh, yeah. I don't know if I liked it as much.
The finish is nice.
Is it?
Yeah.
I still have a little bit. I got little burnt coals on my pumpkin tongue. I'm still tasting it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have any peanut butter in it or jelly or anything like that. So
wow. Okay, wow.
So it's not Nathan's favorite.
I can tell Mark must like this. There you go. I was kind of.
I'll be back later with the mumbles, and they're a little spooky.
All right, okay. Well, with our first whiskey tasting completed, let's move on to our feature segment of our spooky Halloween episode. We have our technology expert, Nick Espinosa, joining the show. He's an expert in cybersecurity and network infrastructure. Nick Espinosa has consulted with clients ranging from small business to the Fortune 100 level. In 1998, at the age of 19, Nick founded Windy City Networks, later acquired in 2015. Then he created Security Fanatics, where he is the chief security fanatic. Let's welcome Nick to our video stream and start our next segment.
Welcome to the segment we call Ask the Experts, with our TechTime Radio expert, Nick Espinosa.
All right, we're excited to have Nick being brought up here.
Hi, Nick.
Nick,
Hey,
how are you doing today?
I'm all right. I'm just watching all the kids steal my candy from the front door. I'm here, not hanging out with them.
Oh, you're not hanging out? Did you just put a bowl out there? So explain it to me. What do you have going on with that?
I got a bowl with no instructions and a camera, and I'm hoping
Okay.
I keep the bowl at the end of the night. That's all I'm going to say.
So if you can keep the bowl, then you've survived the evening really
win.
well.
It's a win because Lord knows I don't want candy in the house, or I'll eat it. Can I also say, purely my opinion, one, that dude from FTX is so unbelievably guilty. And I'm just going to say, I knew something was wrong with FTX when I would order Chinese food, like to have it delivered, and the fortune cookies on the back of like the little fortune were FTX branded logo.
Were they the logo?
Right.
They were advertising in fortune cookies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, FTX. Yeah. How can you run a company and tell your employees you never once told them that they needed to take care of payments or they needed to take care of that? He forgot everything.
I have no idea why you guys don't believe him at all.
Culture is top down, right?
Yes.
You lead from the front.
Yes.
So how you conduct yourself is how your employees will, and it's unbelievable. But anyway,
They're gonna nail him on perjury, then I guess.
Yeah, they'll nail him on the biggest thing that they'll nail him is that he came back and essentially said that he was investing into his other company with the money. If he would have just kept the money offshore in the Bahamas, he probably would have been in great shape. But he decided to double dip a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to end up in Club Fed with the Enron guys anyway. So he'll learn a whole new business scheme anyway. Anyway.
All right. Well, we're excited to have you online.
Yeah,
so before we get to our top 3 stories, let's talk about some stories that did not make the cut. So just thinking about some technology items here, we're going to go through your top 3 scariest. What are some things that have kind of made you go, or got a little scared about technology during the year that we're not going to cover here in the top 3?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously we now have World War III starting in the Middle East, with just that horrific event in Israel and all of that. And as we are looking and tracking at all of that, we are seeing just cyber warfare absolutely launched on both sides. Right now, if you're looking at external to both Israel and Palestine or Hamas, it's about a 5 to 6 to 1 ratio on terms of hacking that are pro-Hamas as opposed to pro-Israel. So I think we're going to see a long and extended protracted situation there. Obviously, Ukraine continues to carry on and all of that. And we've seen some absolutely just massive and spectacular, for lack of a better term, breaches this year. So, it's on and on. As you know, I do every Sunday the breaches of the week, and they just keep getting longer and longer. And it's heartbreaking to see, but that's the name of the business, right? It's the name of the game.
It kind of sucks that didn't make the cut for the spookiest.
Well, that means there's some other stuff that'll be here. I mean,
this is the Mike Drinks a Lot show.
This is the consumers now. I think we've just become numb to the idea that our information is just not going to be breached anywhere, and I don't even think most people care nowadays.
Yeah,
I mean, they put their information out there, and it gets hacked, like the MGM thing. That is huge. That's a lot of info that we should be upset about, but nobody's like, all right, I'll sign up for the Players Club later.
It's called learned helplessness.
Right. Well, I travel a lot for speaking engagements, as you know. How many times have I stayed at a Marriott, and how many times have they gotten my data breached? Part of the problem that we have in the cybersecurity community is fatigue. Not just of cybersecurity professionals, but a general public that doesn't understand that data ages. So when they hear another data breach, it's like, is what I'm caught up in 100 of these in the last 3 years. So why should I care anymore? And that is one of the biggest issues that we've got, just not longitudinally understanding the problems with that attitude. And so it's something we're continuously fighting against. It's a huge problem.
All right, so let's go here.
Let's do it.
We're going to start. We're going to do 3, 2, and then 1. So, Nick, we're going to go to your third most scariest item for 2023. Number 3 is what?
The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office.
Okay, so explain that.
Here in the United States, or USPTO, or USPTO. I don't know. The government loves their acronyms. So that said, the Patent Office announced, basically, this is like late June, early July, that they had suffered a data breach, and thousands of trademark applicants actually for the past 3 years have been affected. And so we're talking about 61,000 plus U.S. citizens that have applied for trademarks or patents, and that's roughly, for the record, about 3%, that have applied. And interestingly enough, I've also applied for trademarks this year, so on some new stuff. So here we go. Now, interestingly enough, this leak was caused by an error in one of the Patent Office application programming interfaces, also known as APIs. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a piece of software that allows two systems to communicate. And in
it's a handshake, right? So you got a Microsoft application and some other crazy application. You want them to work together. Right. The API helps adhere to the standards for each of those to make things transfer.
Right, exactly. And so in this case, the API is allowing applications used by the Patent Office essentially to display the status of trademark. But here's the thing. You have to sign up essentially with a trademark with a domicile address, like a home address. And by virtue of that, they mistakenly published everybody's address, for that 61,000. And here we are. So obviously that's a huge problem for those. And for the record, when we're talking about patents and trademarks, we're talking about intellectual property. And these are things that are ripped off worldwide. And so this is actually a rather serious problem that completely flew under the radar, which is why I'm bringing it up here today.
So let me ask you about this. So let's say I'm a tech company and I decide to submit for a patent or a trademark, and it's something that I'm going to mass produce into some technology secret sauce that I have. Essentially, the organization that did it, let's say hypothetically it was China or another company or another country that did that, then they would actually get the patent that I submitted. So the technology that I submitted and the information I submitted, do they actually breach and get that information, or did they just get that I was applying for a patent with a patent number?
So from what I understand, they actually got all of your information in terms of where you live, email address, how to get a hold of you, et cetera, and also the topic. So for example, let's say you're trying to patent or create a trademark for a brand new widget, whatever that is. They would understand, hey, this might be something we're interested in. And so maybe you become part of a very specific phishing campaign to try to get your intellectual property. And that's the biggest concern here, because again, we're talking about trade secrets that are potentially going through that. And if you've ever been through the trademark process, it's been months and I still don't have my trademarks. Now I have precedent in the sense of like in the legal system, because I've submitted and the government has like, okay, I was number 300 to submit this week or whatever. And so I'm ahead of everybody else that, let's say, tries to submit the same thing I do. But nevertheless, it's a huge, huge problem. It really is. Wow.
If that would suck if I just tried to create Nathan Mum widget of X, Y, and Z, and maybe
you're irreplaceable, buddy.
Well, no, no, I'm just saying my widget would be lost, and then somebody could take it. All right, Nick. So that was 3. Now we're moving on to story number 2. What is the second most scary technology item that we have here in 2023?
Well, gentlemen, drop the whiskey and pour yourself a cup of tea, because we're going across the pond to the UK. And what we're talking about here is their Ministry of Defense. This is the equivalent, the UK equivalent of the US Department of Defense. And they were leaking stolen information on military and intelligence sites online. Now, apparently attackers targeted basically their database known as Zuwan. Okay, now Zuwan actually is a third party that handles the physical security for some of Britain's most top secret locations across the entire island and the world, including a nuclear submarine base, chemical weapons labs, listening posts, all this kind of stuff. And these attackers released thousands of pages of data, which include insanely sensitive national security details for the United Kingdom. And for the record, you're thinking, okay, we're here in the United States. The UK is Five Eyes. They are one of our closest, most staunch allies. I mean, forget the fact that, we won that war 250 years ago. They are one of our closest allies. So this is a huge problem. On top of that information, high security prison information was also stolen, meaning you have detention centers around the globe for, let's say, terrorists that the UK has captured. That's all public now as well. Now, the ransomware group Lockbit, believed to be out of Russia, is the one that is claiming this hit. and they're the ones that published a whole bunch of this information. Now, interestingly enough, the United Kingdom, and this is not the first time, they basically had a Windows 7 PC in their intelligence infrastructure that basically got hit from this third-party company in one of their manufacturing machines. Now, if you recall, a few years ago, the Eternal Blue issue in Windows 7 knocked out 80% of the entire UK health system. So this is a big deal. And so obviously this is a huge black eye for literally the entire military apparatus of the United Kingdom, probably our closest ally.
Wow. So that's only number 2. Can't wait to get to number 1. Are you excited there, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Now, the top story of scary technology items for 2023. I'm sure we just talked about stuff over the pond. I'm sure it's nothing to do with the United States. I'm sure we're taken care of and secure. What is our number 1 item? Don't scare us here, Nick.
Well, ditch the tea and get more bottles of whiskey for this one, because, if we're talking about the UK's Ministry of Defense, let's talk about the U.S. Department of Defense, the world's largest and most effective military around the globe. They basically had an exposed server that was literally just spilling out internal U.S. military emails for about 2-3 weeks, just to anybody that wanted to go look. That's absolutely nuts. Now, interestingly enough, basically the U.S. military was running a Microsoft Azure server that's in the cloud. And for the record, nobody knows how to configure the cloud, including apparently the Pentagon. And that server was physically separated.
That's why you got to use the Amazon cloud service. They're the only one that makes sense, in my opinion. Sorry, I hate Amazon on a lot of other things, but at least their cloud service comes with some instructions. The Azure cloud service is very difficult as an expert to even understand. But okay, continue on.
So right. Just on a complete aside, when we were doing cybersecurity assessments and the corporation or organization has Microsoft Azure, we are running a serious check of about 300 plus controls and best practices for Azure. And most IT teams we deal with said, I had no idea. I thought there was like 10. So FYI, yes,
completely.
I mean, it's like unlocking the Da Vinci Code, trying to figure out that one compared to AWS.
Wow, my confidence in the cyber community has just gone up a lot.
Yeah. Well, this is, again, I said drop the tea, get the whiskey, because
that's right. Well, we got a lot of that.
Yeah. So basically, they had an exposed server in Azure, Microsoft. Basically, that was part of their internal mailbox system, storing about 3 terabytes of internal military emails. And we are talking about literally SOCOM. That's the Special Operations Command, the military unit that does special military operations and all of that. You want to send the SEALs to kill bin Laden? That's SOCOM, right? And so that's obviously a huge problem. So they misconfigured this, and the server was exposed, and it didn't even have a password. No password. That's it. Not even DOD1 or password 1.
Wow.
So no password. It was just completely clean open.
Years of email.
Even the movie War Games, they had a password.
They did. They did.
Yeah, it was Professor Falcon's kid, Joshua.
Joshua.
Right?
Joshua.
Yeah.
Been a while. Yeah. Love that movie as a kid.
Okay, so we have here. So we have the UK government's been breached. We got the United States government that's been breached, and we have essentially all of our patent and trademarks that were submitted to our government sites breached by another country. Wow, that is going to make for a lot of alcohol tonight. Let me just say. All right. So, Nick, do we have any hope for 2024 that we're going to get some of these things right?
Well, alcohol is still widely available and roughly cheap relative to other things. So that helps. No, I mean, we're always working on this. We're improving on the artificial intelligence side to find and detect stuff. There was a new executive order from Biden on AI, the White House, on basically having artificial intelligence be developed to find vulnerabilities and fix them automatically. Huge fan of that, for the record. Okay. So we're going to continue to improve. On the other side, it's always cat and mouse, right? They're going to have the bad guys are going to have access to the AI, and they're not going to have scruples. So here we are, and we're walking into a massive disinformation problem in 2024 because if you didn't know, we got a presidential race that's going on, and it's going to get absolutely nuts. So we're going to see it one way or the other coming and going, but here we are.
All right, Nick, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for being so much a part of our holiday special. How can people get in touch with you and connect with you outside the show?
Always happy to be here. Yeah, and you can basically follow me at Nick AESP on Facebook and Twitter or X or whatever they're going to call themselves next week before they go under. And for the record, Elon Musk lost a ton of trust, so I don't think he's going to get that financial thing off the ground. or feel free to follow me at YouTube as well, /Nick Espinosa, LinkedIn, whatever. Come say hi.
All right, Nick, thanks so much.
Thanks, Nick. See you later.
All right, that ends our segment, Ask the Expert with Nick Espinosa. Up next, we have This Week in Technology. So now would be a great time to enjoy lots of whiskey on the side, as we'll be doing so during the break. You're listening to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mum. See you in a few minutes.
How to See a Man About a Dog. It combines darkly comic short stories, powerful poems, and pulp fiction prose to create a heartbreaking and hilarious journey readers will not soon forget. Read How to See a Man About a Dog, Collected Writings, for free with Kindle Unlimited. Ebook available on Kindle, print copies available on Amazon The Bookpository, and more.
And now, let's look back at this week in technology.
All right, now Nick kind of queued this up and he doesn't even know it. November 4th, 1952, computer predicts presidential election.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while now.
Since November 4th, 1952. As a part of the publicity stunt to help boost sales, Remington Rand collaborated with CBS to unveil its UNIVAC computer, which predicted the results of the 1952 U.S. presidential election between Dwight Eisenhower and Adlai Stevenson on the air. Because of the pre-election polls had the election very close, the publicity surrounding the computer prediction and the winner generated a lot of popular interest. UNIVAC correctly predicted a landslide victory by Eisenhower early in the evening after only 3 million votes had been returned, and they entered it into the system. However, because it was so different than the expected result, the decision was made to hold back the computerized prediction. It appeared that both Remington Rand and CBS feared the computer was incorrect, so they didn't want to take the risk. It was only late in the broadcast, when the continuing returns seemed to indicate that the UNIVAC was in fact correct, did CBS announce the landslide prediction from the computer, and the fact that it had been done so hours earlier. In the end, UNIVAC has came within 3.5% of the popular vote, within 4 electoral votes, and predicted a 100-to-1 odd winner of Eisenhower's victory. The publicity stunt worked so well and became so relatively famous that people started calling all computers UNIVACs in the future. It was also covered in the Superman comic book and a Looney Tunes cartoon. But the next presidential election 4 years later, all 3 major networks were using computers to predict the results. That was This Week in Technology. If you ever wanted to see some tech time history, with over 170 weekly broadcasts spanning 3+ years of video, podcasts, and blog information, you can visit techtimeradio.com to watch our older shows or join our Tech Timers Facebook group to watch us live all the time. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we have Marc's Mumble Whiskey Review and our technology fail of the week, and we're going to see 5 different items on that technology fail. See you after the break.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. Story Coffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at storycoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at storycoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
The segment we've been waiting all week for, Marc's Whiskey Mumble.
Very nice.
Mark's getting into his character over here. How you doing, Marc?
No, stop it, please.
You guys are looking tasty.
Okay, all right. Well, it's your mumble
Okay,
time here.
now it just got
Marinating in
cringy.
some bourbon.
Oh, that's right. Hey, what we got going on today?
Well, what are we celebrating today besides Halloween?
I don't know. Your hairstyle?
Ooh, thank you.
I don't know. You know, Marc, I can never predict where you find this stuff, so I have no idea.
He just makes it.
It could be National Raisins Day for all I know. But, you know, what do we have?
got 1 word, 2 words. It's National Something Day.
Okay.
At least you got that right.
Okay, what is it?
Today is National Doorbell Day.
Oh.
National Doorbell Day is
Well,
celebrated on
duh.
October 31st annually.
Because
To recognize the buzzer bell, chimer, melody tunes, and so on, beckoning us to whatever there is a guest at our door. When kids come to trick-or-treat on us on Halloween, it's the humble doorbell that announces their arrival. Get ready to welcome Halloween with the doorbells.
All right. Okay, that makes sense. That's actually a holiday that kind of makes sense with the day that goes through, right?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, let's talk spooky. Let's talk ghosts now.
Okay.
So specifically, ghost hunters back in 2014 investigated one of the oldest distilleries in America, Buffalo Trace.
Oh.
At Buffalo Trace, spirits fill the bourbon barrels and haunt the halls. So here are the ghosts of Colonel Blanton, a former distillery president who died in the distillery's mansion. Could be the apparition that has been seen and heard lingering on the site. In Warehouse C, where our bourbon today comes from, there are cold spots. Employees have heard strange voices and seen other spirits in that warehouse.
Ooh.
One man even heard a voice whispering to him to get his men out. He listened, and just as the crew left, an entire wall fell down.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So for E.H. Taylor Jr. single barrel, we must remember, though, that these are single barrels and not batched.
Okay.
So there will be some fluctuation between the bottles you find. Now, this particular one, people have said it's a little off profile. Okay. But even with that said, I found them to be fairly consistent. And even though there's some variation, I personally find them all very delicious. I am a little biased as I enjoy the E.H. Taylor line from the small batch all the way up to the barrel proof. I do find the single barrel to be a bit livelier than the small batch. Flavors of roasted oak, vanilla, rich caramel, cherry, and slightly spicy. Ooh. That's why Mike probably doesn't like it as much, because it has a little spice in it.
Spicy. A little spicy in
it. You know, spice in life is what makes the medicine goes down.
I think you watched the wrong movie. You didn't watch the same movie I did.
What's that? The Wicked Witch of the West?
No.
What
Spoonful of Sugar.
Oh, okay.
Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Did you see the second one?
No.
Okay. You didn't.
It has nothing to do with what Marc just said.
A spoonful of delicious bourbon that is spicy.
I think
fit for a king.
You need to do Willy Wonka. Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker.
Oh, okay. All I do is I keep on looking at you, and I just think of Age of Empires. Do-do-do, that little saying that you get. Okay, never mind. All right. Well, Marc, there you go. Thanks for the mumble.
You are welcome.
As always, whiskey and technology is such a great pairing, just like the pairing of Dracula and Frankenstein, both considered Halloween's most famous characters.
Are you sure about that?
I am sure about that. There was a big fight about it online, but I put it in the chat GPT, and that's what it told me, so I believe everything I read on the internet. All right, now let's get ready for our Technology Fail of the Week, brought to us by Elite Executive Service technology experts to help out a technology fail.
We are out of time. Congratulations. You're a failure.
Oh. I failed, did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
All right, our technology fail comes to us from the technology graveyard with 5 haunting failures where ghosts still haunt today. We're going to start out with the HD DVD, originally called Advanced Optical Disc. Under joint development from Toshiba and NEC, the HD DVD could only store 3 times as much information as a DVD, and it couldn't keep up with the Blu-ray drives and essentially 10x the information. We are putting our sadness into the grave for HD DVD. Our next thing, 3D TVs. CES 2010 said 3D TV is perfect for money making and will soon revolutionize everybody's television. So how come the 3D future never came into fruition? One of the reasons, you had to wear glasses. So since 2017, even the most popular people of 3D, Samsung, has not produced a unit. It has stopped making 3D TVs in 2015 until glass-free 3D TVs hit the market. This market is dead, but be careful because this could be a resurgent like zombies, because just like the QR code trend is now picking up again, you see all the QR codes available? This could be the trend that happens next. We'll talk about BlackBerry. At the height of its power, BlackBerry, founded in Waterloo, Canada, was the original research in motion state-of-the-art telephone/paging unit. Now BlackBerry is nothing but a past, and in 2006, the BlackBerry Pearl was sent to rest because of this new Apple groundbreaking invention called the iPhone. Amazon Fire Phone, have you heard of that? Well, it was only around for 2 months. Essentially, the Amazon Fire phone is essentially nowhere to be found anymore. The fire was announced on the 18th of June, 2014, and they sold a total, they say, of about 35,000 phones ever. Amazon later admitted that they had an error in its pricing strategy because it came on out as a super priced phone, and no Fire phone has ever existed or thought about at any time later. Essentially, Jeff Bezos lost $170 million thinking phones was the next feature.
Oh, that's jump change.
All right, and the last thing, an 8-track cartridge. My parents had a truck with an 8-track player, and it's true. The automotive industry loved the 8-track machine. Bentley and Rolls-Royce fitted them, and they're part of their standard selection for years. But 8 tracks were not void of drawbacks. You know, these clunky 5 1/4 by 4-inch plastic pieces of heaven could play great music, but we're no longer able to be keeping up with the technology of this thing called a tape player. That was our 5 technology ghosts. We're going to head out to a commercial break. When we return, we have Mike's mesmerizing moment and our pick of the day. See you after this.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. Story Coffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at storycoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at storycoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
This is Mike's mesmerizing moment, presented by Story Coffee. Visit storycoffee.com. All right, Mike, here's your item for your mesmerizing moment. What is the scariest technology story for the year that we have covered that makes you scared of technology?
Well, I don't think we need to really sift through a lot of stuff. The most concerning thing for me has been the AI stuff.
Okay.
Like a lot of people, AI is super concerning to me, and it's not so much the AI itself, it's how people will use the AI and all the natural errors that will be involved by the persons that program the AI.
Okay.
So because it's become such a hotly debated and utilized resource, I mean, I went to an in-service this past week, and one of the big deals was AI.
Yeah.
So we had to sit and listen to people talk about all this massive awesomeness of AI.
Did you raise your hand and say, hey, I got a radio show, and let me just tell you, you're a little off on some of it?
No, I just let them talk and, listen to some stats and stuff. And it's just concerning. But it's the way that it's going to be used, which is the worst part of it, because that is considerably more insidious than I think we are ready for.
So I enjoy it, but I still use it with guardrails, right? So
everybody should use it with guardrails.
A lot of people aren't, though, right? That's the problem. That's the
people
problem.
Won't use the guardrails. I mean, that's what we were talking about at this thing was I guess there's a creativity factor in it that you can program it for.
Yep.
It either stays factually based with only the information that is placed into it,
or it's got a creative,
or it can create information.
And you got to be careful when you
problem.
do it. Yep, no, that's right. All right, okay, that's great. Well, now let's head on. Thanks, Mike, for that. That's good having you back. I missed you last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've been working.
I know. Well, I'm glad you're back here. You're working hard here too. Let's move on to our Nathan Nugget.
I'm
of the
drinking
week.
hard here.
This is your Nugget of the Week.
All right, this is our Nathan Nugget. Nothing is more scarier than zombie internet. So I have the best 2 Wi-Fi routers for 2023.
I think you really have to explain what that is.
Zombie internet is, have you ever tried to open a web page and your circle just keeps on going and going and going? Okay,
all
so
the time.
That is in the tech world called zombie internet, because if your configuration isn't done correctly, you can have milliseconds of time that needs to be delayed. You can have transfer relays that are delayed. So we're going to talk about the 2 best Wi-Fi routers. So I got the TP-Link Archer AX21, best budget Wi-Fi 6 router. This is available for under $200, and if you want to move up to the Lynx Hydra Pro, that's essentially more than $200, and those are my 2 top picks. It's the TP-Link Archer AX21. It is the best Wi-Fi router available. Find it online or go to TechTime Radio and you can find it. The Link 6 Hydra Pro 6 mesh Wi-Fi router for $200. Now let's move to our pick of the days here. Mark, you going to tell us what we are tasting for our pick of the day?
You're drinking today Colonel E.H. Taylor Jr., the single barrel, straight bourbon, 100 proof, $70, unless you get it in the secondary at $225. So if I see any thumbs down, I will be tearing out those thumbs and scratching out your eyes.
All right, Miller gave it a thumbs up. What are you going to give it, Mike?
I'm going to give it a thumbs down.
Are you going to give it a thumbs down?
I'm going to lose my eyes.
You know what? I may have to lose my eyes, too. I didn't like it either. I'm going to give it a thumbs down. That's 2 thumbs down on your...
Well, that doesn't surprise me with you two.
Okay, will you give it a thumbs up?
Oh, yes. I already went through 2 glasses.
Bye-bye.
All right, see you guys next week.
Thanks for joining us on TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, mum's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.